someone plays this ball against a 2000 level player, where the 2000 is in this position, and they get this shot that your opponent is playing, they're going to miss. They're going to lose this point as well 9 times out of 10. Even if their backhand is slightly better than yours. But I'll tell you where they would have won the point. They would have won the point right here. Right here when the ball came long, close enough to the middle to where it could be attacked. But you push. Okay, fine. It was an alright push. But then this ball especially, where it's even further to the middle, there's absolutely no reason to push this second one. And you're basically taking all the control because he gave you initiative. He gave you the opportunity to take initiative twice in this point. And you're saying, no, you, and giving him all the initiative and basically hoping that he misses or hoping that you play a great counter. And it's not the way to win. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Louie here, and welcome back to a brand new VOD review. Today we're going to be looking at a match from Aussie Chow, known as I Love Ping Pong on Discord. He is currently using the Butterfly Linrenru Super ZLC with, I'm assuming, Dignix 09C on the forehand and Tenergy 05 1.9 on the backhand. No complaints from me there, solid setup. 1495 USATT, so intermediate level player. Goals are to receive serves with better quality and read spin, improve footwork / speed to ball, hit higher quality shots, have a better understanding of third ball attack, and how to maintain rallies. Practice frequency, taking lessons randomly, taken 8 lessons with 8 different coaches just to get a feel for what different coaches do. And I would say just to this point, well, now that you've taken lessons with so many different coaches, having multiple coaches is great. 8 lessons with 8 different coaches is a little bit much. I'd say maybe find a couple or just like one coach that you really like and continue just taking lessons with that coach, because they'll kind of be able to track your game and know you as a player, so they'll be able to know what you need to keep working on instead of having to kind of start over with a different coach every time and kind of re-explain everything, if that makes sense. But anyway, 2 to 3 times per week, that's solid, especially if you're trying to improve. It's not bad at all. Planning to do the US Open in December. Nice. And I'm actually planning on going to this as well. I am playing the Family Generational Doubles event with my dad. So I'm not playing any other events, but I think it'll be a good time while I'm there. And since I'm not playing too much, I will try to record for the channel while I'm there as well, just so that there's some content that I can upload. But anyway, I generally try to correct things when I play, even though it can feel awkward. So if I want to work on my backhand, I'll try to play more with my backhand. I'm always trying to focus on 1 or 2 things when I play in non-tournament settings. Okay. Context, I've been playing for about 3 years, though I've dedicated much of that time toward promoting the sport via my YouTube channel. Love to see it. Let's see. Los Angeles Table Tennis. I'm actually subscribed. Nice. Very nice. You get more views than me. Very, very nice. Meaning I didn't play or practice as much during that course of time as I spent time recording, filming, editing. That's understandable. This game is rough, got in there with little warm-up, and I always struggle significantly without at least 30 minutes of warm-up. Nothing feels right, strokes are wrong, and everything. And to this point, there's no solution to that problem. If you play without warming up, you're not going to play at your best. Even at the top level, even Ma Long is not going to play at his best if you tell him to go start without any warm-up whatsoever. It's just something that's not possible. So really the solution to that is to find a way to warm up before you play. So get there a little bit early, find a table, ask someone to share a table with you. And I understand that that's not always going to be possible. Sometimes there's just no table. Maybe you got there late, maybe there's traffic, maybe there's some reason that you're just not able to warm up before you play. And sometimes you just can't do anything about that. But what you have to do is basically just force yourself to play the correct shots the first couple games with the understanding that you're going to lose and you're going to miss these shots. And that'll probably be the fastest way to warm yourself up and get your feeling during the game, so that later on in the match you kind of have your feeling back. But other than that, it's just one of those things. If you don't play without warming up, you're not going to play at your best. But anyway, games 1 and 2 are hard on the ice. Start feeling it more after game 3. Okay, so I'll watch the first 2 games. I probably won't comment too much just because of what you mentioned, and then I'll start really analyzing things after the 3rd game. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna skip to game 3. Don't take it personally. I'm sure that every mistake you make while you're cold is a mistake that you can fix without my input. So let's see you at your best and go from there. Okay, very nice. Very, very nice. Looks like he's got pips on the back end. You might have mentioned that. That's fine. Footwork looks great as well. Footwork looks solid. Right. That's fine. First time you do that serve, he loops it past you, fine. I just don't want to see that serve again, so it's something I'd say make sure you make a mental note of it. That's fine. Very nice. I love this technique. Your technique, I can tell, has been coached. It's very solid. I'm not the biggest fan of the serves. They're a little high, at least so far. Not as much spin as I would like to see, but not bad. Very nice forehand. Yeah, your forehand is crispy. I jinxed it. That's fine though. It's the right tactics, right idea. Very nice. Very, very nice. Little bit suboptimal on the forehand here. So same thing. You pivot, you go for the forehand, and the issue with this shot is the follow through. You stop a little bit too early. And what that means is that by the time you are making contact with the ball, you're also not accelerating as much as you should. So you kind of swing and then you stop almost like by the right side of your head, above the right side of your head. And really you need to be pulling the paddle to past your left eyebrow and finishing right in front of your left eyebrow. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because how can what you do after you hit the ball have an effect on what's happening while you make contact with the ball? But for whatever reason, it just does. If you follow through a little bit more on this type of ball, one, it's going to give you more quality. You're going to have more spin. You're going to have more depth. You're going to have more stability. And 2, it's going to just be a more consistent shot. It's just kind of the way that it is. So just make sure, especially on these shots where you're pivoting, follow through all the way. And you should still, as long as your forehand is relatively compact in the sense that your swing size is mainly in your follow through and not your backswing, then you should be able to recover no problem. But because you don't, the acceleration while you're making the ball isn't great, and so you miss in the net. Cool. Very early. Let the ball bounce. The analogy I would use for a shot like this is, imagine you're messing around with a friend, and he just gives you this serve, and you're totally trolling, like you're just goofing around, and you try to play a snake, or you try to fish it, or you try to do something goofy. How patient would you be to play that shot? You would be so patient. You would wait, you would let the ball bounce, you would see what it's going to do, because you have to be really precise to play a snake, as not terrible, but as suboptimal of a shot as it is. You'd have to let the ball bounce. And obviously looping the ball, you're not going to wait that long, or you just make a terrible loop. You need to take it closer to the top of the bounce. However, you should still be approaching the serve receive with that mindset. The same mindset you would have if you were goofing around and going for a snake, where you want to let the ball bounce, really let it bounce, see what the ball's going to do, and take your time on the shot. Because here it's like you rush, you step in as you're playing the shot. Really, you could have just sat on that ball, let it come straight to you, and played a high quality shot. Now, I will say the serves are a little bit weak, and I understand the concept of if it's not broken, don't fix it. However, I'd say you're an upper intermediate level player, and a lot of your game is very good. Your footwork is great, your technique is great, your tactics for the most part are great, your serve returns for the most part are great. And if you were to ask me, what is one thing that you could work on that would immediately improve your level by like 200 points, the one thing that I'm noticing are your serves. They don't have the level of spin, any spin, whether you're doing topside, underside, whenever you're going for these serves, that you would need to get to a super high advanced level. So if there was one thing where I'd say, what is the most obvious hole in your game? It's your serves. And again, right now, you're getting a good opportunity to attack and you're executing well. So the question is, where can you improve? And I would say right now, it's your serves. And this might not be the best specific example, like this specific serve, because you might have deliberately been going for no spin here. But like even when you go for the top spin serves and the underspin serves, it's just not quite as heavy as it could be. So just something I want to point out, not necessarily to like fix overnight, but something specific that you can seriously work on. Where I do see a lot of room for improvement, this would be one thing. Because a lot of the other aspects of your game are very strong. I'd say they're at like your technique is at just about an advanced level already. Your tactics, a lot of your tactics are at an advanced level. So it's just something that you have room for improvement on. But also this is just, I think that's just passive. I'd rather see you take that opportunity and miss it 100 times going for a high quality loop than land that sort of shot. Because if you miss it 100 times, that's 100 times you've gotten feedback on what the wrong shot is, which means you're that much closer to now having the feeling of the correct shot. But that's fine. Now on to game 4. Ooh, careful your leg as you're looping. This is one of the hardest habits to break. But your weight is transferring the wrong direction as you're playing this backhand loop. So you're on your toes, and then the serve comes long, and you go back, and you end up on your heels after this shot. So you can see falling backwards away from the table, and both of your legs moving backwards as you play. It's a very, very, very uncomfortable feeling, but you have to force yourself to keep your feet planted on this shot. Obviously transfer your weight so they're not going to be glued to the floor, but you have to stop the legs from moving back like this as you play the shot, because this is a recipe for the ball to go flying. Great return though, very solid. Imagine you played like the best around the net roller right there as he was in front of the camera. No! No! Okay, you attacked, but hopefully you see the issue with not attacking that ball. You have so much time. If you push to your opponent's middle and they kind of push back, this should be an automatic forehand. You shouldn't even have to think about it. But because you wait half a second, you end up having to play a more difficult backhand, which then puts you in a worse situation in the point. So like this shot, it was a great loop, but because his push on the ball you looped was better, he's better set up to block it and plays a high quality block that puts you out of position. But like that's not an easy point to win, and it would have been an easy point to win if you had looped one shot earlier. So like the 2000 level player loops this ball and wins the point. You loop this ball, and the key point is if the 2000 player loops this ball, they're also losing the point the same way here, but they wouldn't have put themselves in this situation because they would have looped one earlier, or they would have at least gone for the loop and missed it. Nah, too much chicken. Right idea. Careful, like your weight transfer for the most part is good, but careful your legs don't get too like loosey-goosey. Try not to get carried away with it to where your legs literally swinging in front of the other like this. It should be a little bit more stable, a little bit more planted on the shots. And again, not glued to the ground, but a little bit more planted. And you would have missed this backhand if you went for the loop. It's very subtle, but even here you're going back onto your heels. And so if you had tried to play this loop, that leg would have come back, and you would have missed the loop, or it would have been a very low quality loop. We take those. We take those. This serve needs to be hit as well. This is another thing that differentiates the upper intermediate from the advanced player. You won't see any attacker over 2000 that doesn't hit this ball. It should be automatic if you're trying to be a double-winged looper that if the serve is obviously long, you attack. The push shouldn't even be an option. The push should be the backup option. It should be, I'm attacking this serve. Oh crap, it's too short, I push. Not, I'm ready to push this serve. Oh crap, now I need to loop it. The first idea in your head should be to loop the ball. Whether that's a forehand loop, a backhand loop, so whether you want to pivot and play the forehand or stay on your backhand comes down to preference. There's not an objective correct answer. However, there is an objective correct answer as to whether this serve should be hit, and the answer to that is yes, especially when he does 2 in a row, and they're very similar. Attack it and miss it. Miss it 11 times in a row if you need to, but it has to be hit. Absolutely has to. We'll take it. Yeah, the serves need a lot of work. Every serve is slightly suboptimal. Like, it's almost good, you're going through the motions correctly, but the spin is not there. The acceleration at the point of contact is not there. It should be as close to a full speed swing with your wrist as possible while you're making contact with the ball. It should have that fizzy brush contact. And like even here, so this is another example. It's clunky. It's not a perfect brush, and so these serves don't have as much spin as they could, and they're not as low as they could be. And again, this ball needs to be hit. It should be your first idea to attack and your second idea to push only if you cannot attack, not the other way around. And so you're fortunate to get an identical ball and play a winner down the line, but why didn't you do that the shot before? But your game is good. I mean, I'd say pushing advanced level, like at least these 2 games. Game 5. Hopefully you win it. You deserve to win it the way you're playing. Maybe not like that. Yeah, too passive again. And again, what you have to understand, I'll go to the shot you miss. Someone plays this ball against a 2000 level player, where the 2000 is in this position, and they get this shot that your opponent is playing, they're going to miss. They're going to lose this point as well 9 times out of 10. Even if their backhand is slightly better than yours. But I'll tell you where they would have won the point. They would have won the point right here. Right here when the ball came long, close enough to the middle to where it could be attacked. But you push. Okay, fine. It was an alright push. But then this ball especially, where it's even further to the middle, there's absolutely no reason to push this second one, and you're basically taking all the control because he gave you initiative. He gave you the opportunity to take initiative twice in this point, and you're saying no you, and giving him all the initiative and basically hoping that he misses or hoping that you play a great counter, and it's not the way to win. Great receive. Yeah, like your shots are so good. Your shots are so good. Like, just, we need more. We need more of it. Or we need you to go for it more so that you can miss more and figure out what you need to work on. But a lot of this passive, like push, scared to loop. Yeah, way too passive. Your backhand is great. Forehand, you need to swing it. I don't know why you stopped. We go back to the game 3. You were ripping forehands, and it was probably because you were down 2-0. You had nothing to lose. You were like, screw it, I'm going to play my game. And now it's 2-2. You're thinking about winning. You're thinking about that he's a little bit higher rated than you, and the forehand has disappeared. That's fine. That's a great miss. Yeah, serves. This has nothing to do with your shots. Again, here, it's an okay serve, which if you're at an intermediate level against other intermediates isn't going to get hit and will give you a good opportunity. but it doesn't work against this level of player. And again, kind of, as I mentioned before, if a 2000 level player has to play this shot, you probably have about the same odds of them as landing it. Is your technique perfect? No. Does Ma Long land this shot? Yes. Does a 2400 land this shot? Probably. But the difference is that the higher level players wouldn't have had to have made such a difficult shot because the opponent wouldn't have been able to hit the serve so easily. I'll take it. I know you're kind of apologetic about winning that point, but that's actually a fine shot. Like, the spin is good. It's fine. Your serve receive, again, it's great. Like, I have very few complaints. Yeah, I mean, classy serve receives. They're very nice. Better serve, much better serve. It's your best underspin I've seen in a while, and you weren't ready to attack. And so again, you go into pushing, and now even if he gives you another push to hit, the point's not in your hand. He could take this ball, he could rip it cross court and win the point. He could rip it to your backhand and win the point. He could touch short. He could jam you in your middle. He could do so many things with this ball because it's just a passive shot with no purpose. And he missed in the net, but that's not what you want to do. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it. He's nervous. Oh. If you were down 2-0 and like it was the third game again, I guarantee you hit this ball. Because this is just like, you are at a level where you know that this side spin on the ball pulls the ball this way. Like, that's beginner level stuff. So I'm perfectly certain that you are aware of what his spin does to the ball, and that you know that this shot doesn't work. You're just thinking too much about the results of the match. You're being too result oriented and too scared to miss. There again, these higher balls where you're going to smash, you need to follow through. It's so counterintuitive, but you not following through means you can even see it where the angle changes. You slow your acceleration and change the angle slightly before making the shot, and so everything, like, you need to just straight through that ball, total follow through. Don't even worry about recovery because that should be a winner. Did that touch? Maybe I'm just blind. I swear that touched. Tell me that didn't touch. Or maybe it hit his shirt. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blind. No, it's not bad. Your game is solid. Like, really, really solid. So yeah, let's type up some notes here. Alright, so I got some notes for you. It's a little more notes than I normally do, but I think you'll be fine, because a lot of the stuff is relatively minor. But technique is mostly good, footwork's mostly good, tactics are mostly good, serve receives when you're not passive are mostly good. You do have a couple minor technique issues that I just want you to keep in mind as you're training. When you pivot to your forehand from the backhand, make sure just to keep the shot nice and compact, especially the backswing, in the sense that any largeness to the swing should be applied to finishing your form and following through, not from a large backswing. And make sure as well with the pivot, when you're pivoting to play the forehand from the backhand side, that you move early, because it's a shot that should be played via anticipation, not reaction. But generally on the forehand, the biggest issue is not finishing your form enough. So when you do make the mistakes, you tend to cut your swing off, and what happens is you slow your racket down while you're still making contact with the ball. So the acceleration suboptimal, you don't get as much spin, depth, and stability as you should. So in other words, just keep the paddle close-ish to being in front of your left eyebrow as kind of a gauge. So if it finishes by your right eyebrow, at the back right side of your head, etc., that means you didn't finish your form, and so the shot was not stable. On the backhand loops, keep your feet planted and more stable. You tend to fall back, bring one or both of your legs back while you're playing, and so you often end up on your heels. And again, this just causes the shot to lose stability. but two biggest things I want you to work on. Number one are serves. This one, I mean, I'm sure you know how to practice serves. We just need to make them way stronger. So practice, 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 practice. Especially heavy underspin. At a high level, you should, like, a heavy underspin serve should be making your opponent dump the ball in the net. Like, it should be that heavy. Obviously, they'll eventually get used to it, but it should be heavy to a point where the first time an opponent feels your underspin, it's so heavy compared to what they're used to that it might not even make it to the net. It just dumps straight down. And second biggest issue, or honestly, it might be the biggest issue. You could change these one way or another. They're both big issues, but passiveness. You tend to put yourself in situations where you have to play very, very difficult shots, and like shots that even a very advanced player would find difficult, instead of just taking the initiative where you can. And my guess is this is either because you're both scared to miss, and because you're hoping that either your opponent misses or gives you an even better opportunity than what they've already given you. And this is a form of hope table tennis, so we need to cut this out and just start playing more aggressively. Take some initiative on your own. This applies to third balls, of course, and balls off of your own serve, but also your opponent's serves as well. So, because when you hit your opponent's serves, your shots look great and your serve receives are great, and then you get passive and you push them and you're missing 3 feet off the end of the table or giving him a high ball. So, first idea, attack. Push is the backup plan, not the other way around. But overall, your game is phenomenal. A lot of good. So I think you're going to be 1800 easily. Maybe even higher, just by fixing these things. I do hope to see another VOD review from you soon. And to everyone watching at home, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a big thumbs up. And if you're interested in some free coaching, then join my Discord server. Got information there. I don't have that many people in line right now, so you might be able to get a VOD review within the next few weeks or so if you were to submit one today. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching again, and until next time.